Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. Today I'm handling a unit called Supply Chain Management Information System. And I'll do topic 1 of Supply Chain Management Information System, just a brief overview to enable you understand what are these information systems we are talking about and how do we go about them. In every supply chain, for us to understand supply chain management information systems, we have to understand the supply chain and how it works. So generally, a supply chain is a combination or a chain of suppliers and customers who come together to be able to deliver a final product to the customer, the final customer. So it means a supply chain is in form of a chain. And it means there are different categories of suppliers and customers in that particular chain to assist in delivering the final product to the final customer. So a chain could be having maybe the supplier of raw materials, then it has the manufacturer or the assembler, and then it goes to the distributor, and then the retailer, and then the final customer. So that's just an example of a supply chain, because it could have very many people or it could have less than the people I've mentioned. So as long as these people ensure there is the transformation of raw material into a finished product, and then this finished product can be taken now to the final customer. So once you understand that, it means a supply chain may not work in a manual way. If it works in a manual way, then how will you be able to connect all your suppliers and all your customers to ensure the product gets to the final customer? It will be so tiresome. And that's why the unit Supply Chain Management Information System comes into place, because it enables you to communicate, pass information very quickly and very fast, without taking any time and without wasting or without distorting information. Because if information is to run from the original supplier to the final customer, there could be a lot of distortion of the information in the midst. So if you do not want that to happen, we need very accurate information systems. So this topic or this unit, we shall carry out, or we shall understand what are these information systems, which are the categories of information systems, and what are the applicability, because information systems need to be applied somewhere. So in our case, we are applying them in a supply chain setup. Once you understand a supply chain, you can be able to know how to go about it and what information systems are needed. So topic 1, we shall go straight to the types of supply chain management information systems. So remember, once you know what a supply chain is, now you have to go straight and look at what are these systems. There are 1,000 systems out there. But since we cannot look at all of them, we have to now see or find out a way of separating these systems and then choosing the most viable when it comes to the supply chain. Because a system can be used anywhere. A supply chain is just one area where you can apply a supply chain information system. But systems are used in every sector. So it's not our business to look at every system that is around. We should just be able to focus on the systems that support the supply chain. And in our case, we shall look at 3 major systems, categories, not systems, but categories. We shall look at 20 or 30 systems, but now categories are 3. The first one is the inventory management information system. These are systems that help you to manage inventory. Remember, in a supply chain, there are inventory. You're managing inventory or materials. So in this particular system, they will help you to manage the materials that are moving up and down across the supply chain. Because materials move up and down. They can move as raw materials, they can move as finished products, they can move as returns. So it means if a supplier or if a customer is not so much satisfied with that item, they can return. So it can move the opposite direction. So those are inventory management information systems. And because there are so many, we may not be able to summarize them at this level, but just know they are there, and they include systems like MRP1. MRP1 is material requirement planning. Then we have manufacturing resource planning, most commonly known as MRP2. We have distribution requirement planning. We have ERP. We have just-in-time. We have vendor managed system. And then we have the warehouse management system. So if you look at what is common in all these systems, you can be able to identify that all of them deal with inventory. All of them mention materials somewhere. If you want to manage your materials, if you want to control your materials, then you have to employ an inventory management system. The second unique thing about them, they work in different environments. Like for distribution requirement planning, it means you work, this system will work in a distribution setup. A warehouse management system, it will work in a warehouse setup. But the aim of it, or the end result of it, it is they are meant to do what? They are meant to manage inventory. The second system is supply chain communication system. So the system will just show you what it does. So the first one was managing inventory. The second one is communicating. If you want to communicate between your stakeholders, between the supply chain partners, remember these supply chain partners are all not found in one location. A supplier has his own organization, a distributor has their own organization. So how do you communicate to all of them? Then you need the supply chain communication systems, and there are also very many. Let me mention a few. We have the electronic data interchange, EDI. We have barcodes. We have electronic point of sale system. We have the procurement management information system. We have the internet, the extranet, the intranet. We have e-commerce. All those are forms of communication. So they are supply chain systems, yes, but they aid in communication. The third category of systems are management information tools. We shall look at management information tools. And other that, we have management information systems, decision support systems, database management systems, transaction processing systems, knowledge management systems, IFMIS, procure to pay system. We shall look at that system, IFMIS. It is common with the government, and how it helps in management of the procurement process from the procurement stage to the payment stage. It is called the procure to pay system. So it's a system that manages the entire process from the time you begin to procure up to the time you make payment. So you can see how many systems I've mentioned. Your work is to find out, is this an inventory management system or it is a communication system? Because for communication, they are literally for helping you to communicate between one supply chain member and another. But for the inventory, they help you to manage inventory, to be able to know how much you have in stock, how much are you supposed to reach before you order for other items. All that is to help you manage inventory. So by the time we are done with all those systems, there are around 30 of them. You should now be able to categorize them into 3 to be able to know which one is used for what purpose. Then after that, we look at the impact of information system on procurement and supply. Of course, the impact is always positive. We have an information system to be able to allow us or enable us do things very easily and very fast. Like it's like advantages, things like it helps in paperless communication. At the end of the day, you do not have to communicate on paper because you have a system. It increases competition. You can be able to get more and more people. If you need suppliers, you can be able to increase the scope of searching for suppliers if you have a system. It enhances global sourcing. You can go international to seek for suppliers. It improves the business relationship, it reduces costs, it reduces fraud, it reduces cycle time, and all these are benefits of computerized information systems. So it's one thing to have a system, and it's another thing to have a computerized information system. All those are benefits or the impact. And of course, it is a positive impact to your organization. Then we go ahead and look at the role of supply chain information systems in developing supply chain relationships. What role will a system play when I have to develop a supply chain relationship? Remember, you cannot operate in one supply chain without relationship. Whichever level you are, you should be able to know those people who are your suppliers, those who are your customers. So it means we have to do something to be able to make sure that these systems help us to maintain the relationships we need to maintain. And then lastly, challenges of implementing supply chain management information systems. Everywhere there is a benefit, there is always a challenge. Information systems are very much beneficial in any setup. But at the end of the day, you need to understand the challenges. And once you understand the challenges, you can be able to know how to go about the challenges. Things like high cost. When you want to start, of course, initially the cost is high, but as you continue using a system, the cost goes on to reduce. Reliability issues, things like compatibility. We have systems, everyone has their own system. Now it is difficult to have a compatible system. Regulatory and legal issues, security issues. All of us know the security issues with a system. People like hackers, all these negativities related to security on our systems. And then buyer's resistance. Sometimes you find people resisting to use a system because maybe it has challenges. Sometimes it's not easy to understand. So you find people resist additional cost. And then sometimes we have unreliable service providers. So as much as a system is very interesting, at the end of the day, it will come with challenges. Once you understand these challenges, you can be able to know what can I be able to do to reduce these security threats. There's a topic we shall look at on security of your system. A very interesting topic. So once you have done that, you can be able to know, how do I deal with these suppliers who are resistant? How do I deal with this unreliable service provider? Someone who is not reliable, they are not consistent. You can be able to look for those who are more reliable and deal with them. So challenges are there to be faced, but once you face a challenge, you have to know how you can be able to go about it to make sure it does not affect your business. So by the end of this topic, you should have learned as many systems as you can, whether they are communication systems, their inventory management systems, or their management information tools. Make sure you can be able to differentiate them together with their advantages and disadvantages. You see, the reason why we go through all these systems is because, like in an exam setup, you may not exactly know this is what someone will set. Someone can set MRP1, challenges, advantages, disadvantages, and also practically, it's not only for exam purposes. Practically, you need to understand these systems because most organizations have gone high-tech. It means you'll find they have employed different systems in their premises. So if you do not understand them from this point, then when will you understand them? So it means you have to start understanding the theory, and then when you go to interact with the system practically, you can now be able to say, yes, I have ever seen this system and I know this is how it works. So the practicals will become even easier. So this topic will give you a general overview of how a system looks like, what are the advantages, disadvantages, and how to go about dealing with a particular system. So thank you for joining me.